Have you been tested?
Ah! How can a man with such a closed mind be called inquisitive?
It's a universal fact that you only get one chance to make a second impression. And Piranha Bytes actually got that chance. This time they used it well, creating the most Gothic-like game they had made since, well, Gothic. So let's take an in-depth look at Risen. Risen was the one-shot Piranha Bytes had to prove to Gothic fans that they could still create something true to the spirit of their previous masterpieces. That Gothic 3 was, for the most part, an unfortunate accident, caused more by outside pressure than any lack of talent. With Joe Wood, Gothic's publisher, out of the picture, they finally had the freedom to build something new. Well, new because they also lost the rights to the Gothic franchise, which stayed with Joe Wood. And Joe Wood used these rights to create the most glorious expansion I have ever played, Forsaken Gods. A game so broken that even its bugs had bugs. I don't even need to say it. It was a grand first step for the Gothic franchise into the abyss. The beginning of the end, so to speak. And it's doomed, at least for now. I still have no idea how their remake will turn out. And with that, Risen steps onto the stage. The background story clearly pays its respects to Gothic 3's Xardas ending. The gods are banished, and with them gone, powerful beings rose once more to terrorize humanity. But before we dive into the story proper, you already know what I'm about to ask. Please like, subscribe and comment. I genuinely enjoy interacting with you in the comment section. Plus, it helps my videos reach a wider audience, which would be very appreciated. Thanks in advance for any engagement with this video. Oh, and as always, expect spoilers for the entire game. I've rushed my schedule as much as I could to get this video out before the holidays and the new year. So those of you who watch my stuff can have sort of a little present from me. Hope you enjoy it. Now back to the story proper. You wake up on the beach after a pretty powerful storm and a brief monster encounter at sea. Although encounter might be generous, since all the actual fighting was done by the Inquisitor. The man in question blasted some magic around, teleported away and left the ship to fend for itself. Great management style. We will meet him again. Only the hero and Sarah survived, a woman I know almost nothing about, except that she works great as an early tutorial guide, pointing out the rather obvious stuff. For example, that it's best to leave the beach and head inland. Thanks Sarah, much appreciated. I think I'll leave her by this hut for now. The road ahead looks dangerous and I'd rather not get her killed 5 minutes into the game. A slight future interjection here. After I get her to safety in the bandit camp, she becomes an obsolete NPC. No new interactions, no new quests. A letdown for sure. Judging by the opening cinematic, I thought she will play a bigger role in what is to come. Oh well. This foliage and terrain still looks pretty solid even today. The island feels full of secrets waiting to be uncovered, like these ruins. Feels like they walked straight out of Jarkandar, but that's a different universe entirely at this point. I wonder if they'll play a larger role in the game. Probably. The same, however, cannot be said about the NPCs' faces and character models. They're passable at best. And before you remind me that the game came out in 2009 and the graphics are of their time, trust me, I considered that. 2009 also gave us Dragon Age Origins, Arkham Asylum and even Uncharted 2. All of these games had noticeably better character models. And sure, these were AAA titles, but still, something about the Risen's NPCs just feels off. Maybe it's the shoulders? They're so broad that some of these guys look like they've been lifting a lot. Or maybe it's the fact that the job they have determines what face they have? Honestly, look at the blacksmiths. These are practically clones, and they are not the only offenders. But honestly, it doesn't bother me all that much. It's a Piranha Bytes game. By this point, there was time to get used to it. Besides, the real bread and butter of their games is and always has been exploration and discovery. So there is still plenty to look forward to. Speaking of exploration, I finally made it to this place. What is this spot in the swamp?
This whole swamp area, from here to the temple in the north, it's run by Don Esteban, our leader. I wouldn't mess with him if I were you.
Ah, so this is where the Don lives, one of the important people on this island. I'm willing to bet they weren't always at home in these, less than inviting parts of the island.
No, we used to have the whole of Harbour Town until the Inquisition came. All their magic and robes and stuff. They pushed us out here.
Maybe I'll join them. Seems like a solid choice for a melee fighter. There are 3 factions to join, as always. The Don's men are just one of them. We'll come across the others soon enough.
Hey, what? You better be from Hawkins. I need those crates moving.
Sure, I can help you move those crates. Just use the magic word.
What magic word? Here, you're not with that Inquisition lot, are you? Look, I'll have no magical nonsense around here.
Yeah, I'm starting to suspect that the swamp isn't the only thing rotting around here.
The Don is busy. He's thinking. Talk to his wife, Rachel. She's in charge.
Yeah, I figured as much. I'm not getting into the temple where the Don resides. But wait, what is that? What the hell? So Rachel, the Don's wife, is out there in the camp trying to keep everything from collapsing, organizing supplies, cooking, keeping the crew alive. Meanwhile, the main boss and his closest advisors are in the temple, surrounded by a pile of gold and a half-naked dancer? What the actual hell? How does that even work as a leadership structure? I have a sneaking suspicion that the Don is not exactly the paragon of management his men make him out to be. Great workload allocation though. Rachel does all the work, the camp struggles to survive, and this one over here? Oh, she's too important to help. She has the critical, nay, the essential task of dancing by the fire. You see, probably bouncy breasts seem to be the only thing capable of pulling the Don's attention away from gold. I'm suddenly not so sure about joining this faction. I think it's best to explore other career paths. But I'm still going to complete a few quests here. There is a common misconception that there aren't any persuasion or social skills in Risen or the Gothic series. This is simply not true. Simply just beat people up till they agree with you. They suddenly become very receptive to my ideas. Amazing what a good concussion can do for persuasion. Speaking of beating things up, this right here is the most competent combat system Piranha Bytes has ever made. And I mean across all the Gothic, Risen and even Elex games. Makes you wonder how good they could be if they actually kept iterating on their own improvements instead of reinventing the wheel every few games. Oh well, let's enjoy the mechanics while they last. The best part is that we are back to the classic Gothic philosophy. With enough player skill and enough stubbornness, you can take on monsters and NPCs way stronger than you. As long as you deal any damage at all, you've got a fighting chance. And this time around it's far more beginner friendly. While I loved what Gothic 1 and 2 offered, let's be honest, the combat in these games required some getting used to, but not here. This system is intuitive and gives you a decent variety of moves. A few attacks, combos, dodging, blocking and all that good stuff. It comes together surprisingly well, if I say so myself. So, let's use my newly acquired persuasion tool to convince everyone here that I'm the new arena champion. And wouldn't you know it, it worked! With only minimal investment in actual fighting skills, I managed to become the best fighter in the camp. Which really makes you think about the Don's fighting force, another point against joining his merry band of swamp-dwelling misfits. Let's check out Harbour Town, the place Don Esteban was supposedly driven out of by the Inquisition. Maybe some other career paths will open up there. Time to hit the road. The farm up ahead is populated by novices from the monastery. Or, more accurately, unpaid labor with a chance of becoming a mage, someday. From time to time they get visits from the White Robes, the Inquisition's people. And if they see me, they'll drag me off to the monastery and do, well, whatever it is they do up there. Some say they brainwash people. Great, just what I needed. So let's keep an eye out for the Order's warriors. No point in getting hauled away like a lost sheep. The novices need help dealing with some local wildlife? Why not? these wolves go down surprisingly easy. It's probably because this is the weaker version.
Hey you! I have to warn you, there is a warrior of the Order on the farm.
Oh, just my luck. Yeah, figures, but no worries. This is the perfect moment to just slip off the Inquisition's little surprise visit. Yeah, works every time.
All clear. The warrior's gone. It was a good job I saw you first, or you'd be on your way to the monastery.
Although I could let myself get dragged away. According to the novices, they would immediately conscript me. Honestly, that seems to be the easiest way to join the faction, but I still think I need to know more. The grateful novices will now show me the way to Harbour Town. Excellent. Lead the way, my good sir.
All right, but it's a long, dangerous journey.
The city is closed by the order of the Inquisitor. No one gets in or out. And if someone did try to get in, they'd probably just get dragged straight to the monastery anyway. So, how do I get in?
See, you need tips to survive. Give a fella a little gold, he'll help you with advice.
Ah, I see. How much?
100 gold coins.
And thanks to the grand, universal cosmic power of gold, I'm finally inside the town. Getting out will be another story entirely, but we'll cross to that bridge when we come to it. But why is the city closed in the first place? What's the reasoning behind it? Okay, slight break in sequence here, because this info I only figured out later. You see, the Inquisition closed the city for a very obvious reason. Control. They want practically the entire island's population in one place where they can monitor every coming and going. The only people still free are the Dawn's men. On top of that, the Inquisition relieves every citizen of any artifacts they found in the ruins that have sprung up all over the island. We already found one of those ruins on the way from the beach. Why they want these artifacts so badly is still unclear to me. But one thing is certain, they want all of them. To cover up this blatant power grab, they cooked up a story about protecting the citizens from dangers lurking in the ruins. Yeah, if I ever seen an explanation that is held together with spit and duct tape, that's the one. So basically, we'll take all your artifacts and lock you in the city. It's for your own protection, trust me bro. After all, outside the walls, it's dangerous, and the artifacts might attract monsters to your location. Right. If that were true, then the city and the monastery should be besieged by beasts. Considering how many artifacts are concentrated there, there must be more to it. Wait, now I thought of something else. Harbour Town. Does this place actually have a name, or is it just Harbour Town? I checked. Yep, it's Harbour Town. Just Harbour Town. Even the wiki says so. Incredible creativity. Anyway, considering everything, this town is basically one big open-air prison. And I'm about to walk right into it. Oh well, no time like the present. Let's go on with it. There are many quests in the city that require thief skills. I'm passable at pickpocketing and opening locks, but I can't sneak if my life depended on it. Acquiring skills works the same as in the Gothic games. You get 10 learning points for each level. These points can be used along with some gold to procure training from teachers scattered across the island. The basic skills can be learned very easily, like pickpocketing or low-level fighting moves. Specialization, though, will require joining a faction. Seeing as learning points is a rather valuable resource, I'm not too keen on learning the sneak skill, since these few quests in the city will probably be the only ones that require it. Let's see what I can tackle without it. Oh, this is the first mage I've seen in this game. I thought all of them were held up in the monastery. I guess one strategically placed member of the Order is needed to point people toward the third path you can take in this game, the path of a mage. The second one being a warrior for the Inquisition. I quite like Master Belshore, the man in question. He's actively trying to help the less fortunate people in the city, and that's something I can get behind. I distribute some healing potions as well as help a farmer find a warm bed for his sick wife. This is enough to make the mage respect me and recommend me to Commandant Carlos. Carlos is the leader of the city in the Inquisitor's stead. I'll run into him eventually. The other interesting and important person in town is Patty. I'm of two minds when it comes to her. I like her personally, though I dislike the change associated with her. She is a harbinger of bad news, so to speak, but thankfully not in Risen 1. She tries to play coy about what she's looking for.
I'm looking for something. Something valuable to me.
What?
Can you keep a secret?
Sure.
Yeah, and so can I.
Come on, Patty, I'm sure I'll be able to help.
Well, don't get too excited. It's nothing you can sell. I need to find my father.
Ah, the classic father search. And he was a sailor. Yeah, it doesn't take me long to find out that her father is Gregorius Steelbeard, supposedly a famous pirate in this world. Pirates. Piranha Bytes has a strange obsession with those. First in the Night of the Raven, now here. I hope they won't occupy more and more of their games. That would be a strange direction for the stories to go into. One can only hope. Either way, there is even the grand nemesis of Captain Steelbeard here in Harbour Town. One Mr. Romanov. I chatted with him a bit, but he didn't tell me anything interesting. But his men? Now, that's a different story. Meet Erickson, a rather unpleasant fellow, but one who is very susceptible to the persuasion techniques I learned in the swamp.
I can't stand this!
Ah! Let's see some blood! That was...
He lets himself be persuaded into telling me that Steelbeard has a shack in the city, and he even has a key that opens the door.
Show me. I don't recognize this, but it has my father's initials on it. He marks his territory. I think he'd have carved his initials into me given the chance.
The shack is in the slum district of the town. Inside, I find a letter which I bring to Patty. I didn't get what was written there, but she seems very excited.
Now this is a useful piece of paper. This is precisely what I was looking for.
Good for her. I have a feeling we'll meet again. I have to say, the visual difference between the supposed districts of the city is rather poor. I always had trouble figuring out in what district I am supposed to be in right now. They lack a strong identity, which is strange. Piranha Bytes had it down to a T in Gothic 2. You knew at a glance whether you were in the slums, the market, or the upper city. Harbour Town lacks a strong identity. Maybe the upper class district stands out a little, but even there the all-white buildings blur together into one big blob of samey structures. As a result, it's very forgettable. Korinis is the city I know by heart, as is Atkatla, Tarant, or now Arholos, to name a few others. In comparison, Harbour Town is just bland and feels deserted at times. There are NPCs, but many times I got the uncanny feeling that the streets were a bit barren and devoid of life. Nothing to be done about it. Let's explore a bit more. I wonder what's behind here. Oh, would you look at that? A ring that allows me to sneak without the skill investment. I think it's time to pay the local warehouse a visit. First, I have to get somewhere high up, then use the levitation scroll and land on the platform. The rest is easy. Let's redistribute the order's wealth, mostly to me. Speaking of levitation, many of the game's puzzles that we'll come across can be solved using free spells. One such spell is Levitation. That's the one I used to reach the warehouse and liberate the Order's ill-gotten gains. I felt very righteous doing this. I am the will of the people. The second spell is the one that allows the hero to turn into a Nautilus, a small crawling creature that can squeeze through cracks in the walls to reach the other side. And lastly, there's Telekinesis. This one is actually fun. Well, Levitation is also fun, but Telekinesis has more uses. Sure, it can help you push out of reach buttons, but it also enhances exploration, helping you locate and collect stuff that might be out of sight or out of reach. Just whip the spell out and run around with it. It will highlight anything you might have missed. The one downside is that it also finds all the useless junk lying around, but still, it's quite useful. Any combination of these three spells will be used in solving puzzles. It can get a bit tedious at times, but all in all it gets the job done, allowing for a great deal of variety, mostly in exploration of the ruins. Most of the quests in Harbour Town are divided between helping the Don's people or the Order. Gather 5 ceremonial armor pieces, then give them to the Order or to the Don. Find Romanov's treasure, give it to the Order or to the Don. Search the Don's old villa, give whatever you find to the Order or to the Don. You know what I'm getting at. They are mutually exclusive most of the time, and this is something I don't really agree with. It forces you to choose sides before you actually, choose sides. What's the point then? In other Piranha Bytes games, you complete a ton of unrelated quests that happen to impress one faction or another, and then you decide which path to take. If I have to make that decision way before joining anyone, well, the whole idea loses its charm. Sure, 1 or 2 such quests would be fine and could add flavor, but nearly all of them? Yeah, that doesn't sit right with me. But fine, that means I have to help the Inquisition, since I finally settled on my career path. Master Belshore inspired me. I'm going to become a mage. Melee combat is fun and all, but I'm a simple man. I enjoy attacks that ignore blocking. So mage it is. But before I get to wear a robe and call myself a mage, apart from completing missions for the Inquisition, I still have to help them figure out how the Don's men are smuggling artifacts out of the city. Remember, the whole place is basically on lockdown. The brothel seems like a good place to start sniffing around. I mean, poking around. That sounds even worse. Okay, it's best to start my investigation there, and thanks to my reputation, plus a bit of strategically invested gold, I learned there's a hidden entrance behind the cabinet in the last palace. Oh, I didn't expect to find an antiques dealer in the passageway.
Antiques, golden ones, things brought in by the refugees. All legit. I have provenance for all of them.
Yeah, sure you are. This man is Scordo, the leader of the Don's people in the city. The conversation with him doesn't last long. He's not exactly impressed that I'm working with the Inquisition, so a very long persuasion session follows.
Oh, you know what it's like. Word gets around. And you do seem to be everywhere, collaborating, doing his good works.
Damn, this guy is a slash sponge. I kept hacking away at him and his health dropped by like 2 pixels per hit. Finally, he goes down. Took a while. Let's check the exit. Yep, this will come in handy. This is the tunnel that Don uses to smuggle stuff out of the city. I'll even let Patty know I found a way out on my way to the Commandant.
That looks like a key to the sewers. They must be smuggling artifacts out through this tunnel. The idiots. Damned idiots.
Wait, what? Sewers? These are sewers? How the hell does this cave count as a sewer for the city? There is simply no way, unless, of course, people used buckets to carry their filth into the tunnel, which raises even more questions. And why are the sewers behind the secret entrance? This makes zero sense. If this makes some sense to you, please let me know in the comments, because I'm lost. By the way, Carlos, why is the Inquisition even here?
Contact with the mainland is lost. We have heard nothing from our other outposts. If we were to lose the Holy Hall, lose the Holy Flame as well. But maybe the temples that rose from the earth here hold secrets that can help us understand what is happening.
Wait. What mainland? What kingdom? What world are we in? Care to elaborate? What happened after the gods were banished? The more I think about it, the more questions pop up. And no, there are almost no answers. Even learning the island is called Faranga required too much digging. Up until now, I hoped the higher-ups would tell me something, anything about this world. But these scraps of lore can barely be called world building. Sure, Gothic 1 was also light on background info, but at least it had something. And the devs had 3 games and an expansion to improve their world building credentials. To no avail, it would seem. Honestly, the only game from Piranha Bytes with solid world building was Gothic 2. Alright, Carlos, you got one more chance to say something interesting. Why did you imprison the whole city?
Prisoner? Have you been beyond the walls here? Seen the bandits, the creatures that roam this island? How many of the farmers and shopkeepers here could defend themselves against them?
And no. Party line again. We're protecting people from beasts and their own greed. I expected more from you, Carlos. But fine, now I at least know where I'm standing. It's finally time. I've completed all the requirements to travel to the monastery and train as a mage. This will be my next stop. These aggressive little fellas are gnomes. Risen's substitute goblins. Getting rid of them is part of an extermination quest from Severin. He is rather high up in the organization, judging by the armor. And he was just itching to conscript me and send me to the monastery. Even though it's my ultimate destination, it's still good that I have a written recommendation from Carlos.
Sure you do. Sure you do.
The gnomes are funny little fellows. Sure, they are aggressive and will attack you without fail, but their design is interesting. They have a cuddly feel to them, which granted, is strange. They are part of a sweeping redesign of monsters from Gothic to Risen. Instead of goblins, there are gnomes now. The scavengers became sea vultures, the mole rats morphed into stingrays, and the wolves, well, wolves remained wolves. There are many more examples of that. I get the uncanny feeling that this is the Gothic bestiary with a fresh reskin. And honestly, it's fine. Familiar, but different. Probably exactly what the devs were aiming for. And most importantly, they are still fun to slice them up. Anyway, back to climbing this damn mountain.
Well, who do we have here? I don't recognize you. Looks to me like you're a vagrant. And vagrancy, that's illegal.
Ah, here it is, the famed conscription. This blockhead here thinks I'm a vagrant. Wanted to force me into the Inquisition's service right away. The Inquisition is a delightful bunch. The people in the city are basically prisoners, and if you are outside as a free man or woman, you're a criminal. Great laws they have here, truly. Master Pallas is in charge of the new arrivals, whether willing or not. He directs me to my new quarters. With the recommendation from Carlos, I have the option to train as a mage. Good. That is what I decided on after all. And after dealing with all this nonsense, I'm more convinced of that choice than ever. The Inquisitor? Oh, I didn't expect to meet him so soon after my arrival. He doesn't strike me as a madman I expected. Still, it's far too soon to draw any conclusions. Any definite assessment of him would be premature. In fact, he is in my new room because a murder has been committed, and I'm tasked with finding out who did it. Are you sure about that? I'm not competent at anything other than stealing.
I am not accusing you. Your recent arrival means you have two qualities I need. You could not have committed this crime, and you need to prove yourself here. You can start by discovering who was responsible for this.
Okay, am I the only one who finds it weird that a complete stranger was chosen to solve a murder case? They should have something resembling an internal police force here. But sure, why not? I might as well attempt to solve it. Still, it makes me question the leadership of the Inquisition more and more. These guys don't strike me as terribly competent so far. The other strange thing is how blasé and laid back everyone treats a murder in the closed-off monastery. Yep, another Tuesday. Well, I'm not one to judge. Let's look around. Oh, who do we have here? Moving up in the world, eh, Scordo?
I hope you rot, like the rest of those fanatics.
Something tells me he isn't happy to see me, although him being here is a fun bit of reactivity. The murder investigation quest hinges on two things. 1. Obviously, I need to interrogate people and get to the truth. 2. I need to complete my basic training, which I find a bit weird. Why do my combat prowess factor into the murder investigation at all? Sure, I know why it is done mechanically. Only by completing the basic training, which consists of 4 consecutive fights, am I allowed into the upper part of the monastery, where some of the important NPCs for this quest are. But as a requirement? It's bizarre. Why commission a newcomer to solve a murder when he can't even move freely around the monastery? For all they know, I could be stuck in the lower monastery for years, with the murderer living his best life upstairs. At least there is some arena fighting. Although again, I'm a mage novice. Why do the devs insist on making a warrior out of me? The whole monastery section gives off one-size-fits-all training camp vibes. Makes sense for a military facility, I suppose. Complete basic training, then go for specialization later. Still, feels weird to do so much melee fighting as a future mage. Okay, the last opponent is Master Arik, another slash sponge, but nothing I can't handle. With this win, I'm finally allowed deeper into the monastery. Time to finish the quest for the Inquisitor. There's a lot of running around in this one, so here is the short version. It was Master Arik. He is the murderer.
You think I don't care about what I did? I never intended it to end this way.
You see, the dead novice was distributing relaxation aids in the monastery. Yeah, he was selling weed. And he was in partnership with Arik, who didn't get his cut, so his hand slipped and we ended up with the dead novice. You know what the most infuriating part is? I have to fight Arik again, that damn slash sponge. Either way, this quest is just a sideshow. The reason I'm here is to become a mage, and this investigation doesn't get me any closer to that goal. On the other hand, the proper mage quest chain is exactly what I remembered from Gothic 2, when you want to become one. I have to complete tasks given by all the masters of the monastery involving getting artifacts, retrieving crystals, or collecting herbs. But the scroll-making task is more involved. It's probably the biggest quest available here. You see, I need to find out what ingredients are needed for each first level spell. Some of my fellow students know some of those ingredients for specific spells, but won't part with that knowledge without a favor. So I have to run around the monastery and find what they need, whether it's materials or information. What I really appreciate about this quest is this. Yeah, the monastery has hidden chambers ripe for exploration. This immediately made the whole area far more interesting for me. I love secret areas with hidden knowledge, so this part of the quest was awesome. After finishing all tasks given by the masters, I'm finally able to become a full-fledged mage. The only thing remaining is the initiation ceremony with Inquisitor Mendoza, who seems to be not only the leader of the warriors, but also the mages. By the way, the thing behind him is the Holy Flame, the source of the mage's power.
Have you been tested?
Yes.
Are you prepared to take the oath?
I am.
The initiation is basically a normal conversation. The twist is that some dialogue choices give permanent bonuses to strength, HP or mana. Good thing these options are labeled, because the words spoken would never have told me what bonus I was choosing. I went for mana each time. The conversation is also strangely stitched together in places, like here.
Let's see if your actions and words match. I will offer you a task. Carry that out, and I shall take it as a sign that the Don can be trusted, that your words are true.
What? What about the Don? He sounds like I came here with a proposition from the bandits. These lines were probably meant to be used when you come here as one of the Don's men. Well, that's awkward. I must admit that for a moment I didn't know what he was talking about. When the ceremony ends, Mendoza takes me to a strange closed gate just outside the monastery walls. Now I finally get to know more about what's happening in the world. Here's a condensed version. The monster I saw in the opening cinematic was a Titan. They are said to have roamed the world from the very beginning. Then the gods came, subdued them and enslaved humanity. So after a mage banished the gods from this world, the Titans rose again to terrorize humanity. When it rains it pours, it would seem. Either humans are trounced upon by Titans or enslaved by gods. Take your pick. Outside this island, storms are raging and probably many more calamities have befallen the world. This place seems to be protected though, by the holy flame we just witnessed in the main chamber. As I stated, it's from the flame that the mages draw their power. And I finally get why the Inquisition wants all the artifacts from the island. Yeah, the Inquisitor hopes to find other powerful magic artifacts, like the one he's wearing right now, that will probably help him increase his power to fight the Titans. I knew it. The reason given to the populace was just a tall tale. Mendoza wants all the artifacts, so nothing potentially useful gets past him. Again, consolidation of power. That's as much as I'm going to get when it comes to the background story. Pity. I hope to learn more about the world's geography or political situation. This setup is as bare bones as they come. What I do get more of is a quest, to find the discs needed to open the door in the side of the mountain. This will probably send me across the whole island. Exploration time, it's always a good thing. But before that, there is still one thing to talk about. Actually, it's the exact thing that will allow me to explore more freely. Magic. After all, that's the reason I even bothered coming to this monastery. The magic system in Risen has, as I see it, two main branches. First, there are spells that can be cast using either runes or scrolls. Then there are magic attacks performed with crystals. All of these use mana, so no extra resource is needed. If you play as a mage, like I am this time, you can use runes to cast spells. Everyone else relies on scrolls, which, unlike runes, are one-time use only. Spells are mostly utilitarian. There's levitation, sprint, jest, illusion, and so on. Basically fun tools to spice up gameplay from time to time. Personally, I don't use most of them that much, except when a puzzle absolutely requires it. And the one offensive spell? Only the most advanced mages can play with that toy, and all in all, it's not that useful. And speaking of offensive magic, enter the crystals, the mana-fueled heavy hitters. Think of them like a sword or bow for other classes, except each hit consumes that blue resource, but they bypass any block, which is fantastic. Fighting can drag on in melee when enemies block and strafe, so crystals are exactly what I needed. You have ice, fire, and a magic bullet crystal. Fire is basically a blazing AoE fireball. Magic bullet sends fast missiles that stagger the enemy, and ice balls slow down targets. You can train with all crystals, but honestly, that's a waste of learning points. Pick one and stick with it. It's the path of least resistance and the best results. I've chosen the magic bullet, or missile, as I'm inclined to call it. You know, years of playing D&D campaigns will do that to a person. It's my favorite. Stay at a safe distance, chip away at enemies, and don't let them get into melee range. That said, I'm a bit disappointed with the overall spell variety. I get it, many attack spells in the previous games are just superseded by stronger versions. Yes, I'm looking at you, Fire Arrow and your big brother the Fireball. But it still feels better to have more options. Firestorms, ice blocks or life drain, the variety was great. Overall, the magic system in Risen feels like a slight step down compared to the Gothic series. I do like the idea behind the crystals though. What you get at the beginning of your journey as a mage is essentially what you'll have at the end. But it works surprisingly well, and leveling your chosen crystal can easily take you until the very end of the game. So, what was I supposed to do again? Ah, yes, the discs. Okay, first off, one disc is already in the possession of the Inquisitor. It's just broken. I'll have to find a way to repair it. Mendoza also helpfully points me toward two other leads, Severin at the base of the mountain and the Dawn. Time to go spelunking in some ancient ruins. The first stop, Severin. I help him and the novices fend off a brutal attack by these vicious gnomes. Yeah, vicious. Not that hard really, their design is just too cuddly for their own good. This whole attack also works as a not-so-subtle foreshadowing. It's easy to deduce. The disc has been stolen by them. Of course it was. And guess who is responsible for retrieving it?
Right, sure. It was bound to be down to me.
Severin whines that the gnomes have started using advanced tactics and are way more coordinated than before, as if someone was commanding them. I don't know about that. They were strafing and dying as usual. No strange behavior detected. Severin is probably trying to cover up the fact that he got outsmarted by gnomes. Understandable. He gives me his guess as to where their base might be. East it is. Once again, the exploration in this game is top-notch, really fun. By a hanging wooden bridge I find Hendrik, a local hunter. He's hot on the trail of a creature called the Geiger, sort of a local myth, a monster said to be leading the gnomes.
No one believes that it really exists, but I know that it does, and I will prove it.
Maybe Severin was right? We follow the gnomes to get to the creature. Oh, the legends are true. The Geiger is real. An interesting ogre reskin, very welcome. Yet goes down easier than I thought. My first disc is secured. Hendrik, the monster is dead.
The Geiger is dead.
What?
Dead. Deceased. It is a dead Geiger.
Okay, the Geiger is a fun monster, finally something that enriches the lore of this island. But it would work way better if it had been mentioned earlier, somewhere in the bandit camp or harbor town, to let the myth build up before the fight. It would have been more satisfying that way. Now into the swamp. The Don is indeed in possession of the second disc. I try to convince him by promising that he can keep the gold he already has.
The gold from the ruins, the ones you currently occupy in any case. Take that, and he won't trouble you.
I don't think the Inquisitor thought that through. Why would letting him keep what he already owns convince him to help? It's not like the Order has the manpower to storm this camp.
That is indeed an offer. Agreed then. Discs for the ruins.
I stand corrected. That's bizarre, but it worked. I elected not to dwell on it. Especially since I got a lead on another disc. The Don sent some people to a temple to retrieve gold and artifacts. And sure enough, the disc is also there. I even managed to save the whole expedition. Well, almost whole. One warrior didn't make it. The interesting part was the last enemy, a lizard priest. A bipedal cryptic species, it would seem. More lore. I love it. But with all that running around, I forgot that I still have a disc that needs repairing. There's supposed to be a druid on this island who can help with that. When I finally reach his hut, he's nowhere to be found. Which doesn't surprise me. I was expecting a twist. Although I do wish I'd come here sooner. His hut isn't that far from the Geiger hunting grounds. Would have saved me a lot of slow running around. I find the druid in question in another temple. This one definitely inhabited by these strange lizard people. I really hope I'll learn more about them. I even had footage of the whole rescue operation, but the file got corrupted. Sorry about that. Eldric the Druid is the right man for the job. He repairs the disc, even though he doesn't seem to hold the Inquisitor in high regard.
But if you need a level ahead than the Inquisitor... Inquisitor! How can a man with such a closed mind be called inquisitive? It is a crime against language.
Good. One more left to go. So, the last crystal disc. Well, this one is a special case. To get it, you basically have to complete a whole separate side adventure. Do you remember Patty? Yes, the girl I helped in Harbor Town, daughter of Captain Steelbeard. She's looking for her father's treasure hidden somewhere on this island. Yeah, that means more exploration. More buried chests, more treasure maps. And since exploration is this game's strong suit, I'm all for it. Although I would like the hero to move a bit faster. Something about his running animation makes it look like he's walking through molasses. In fact, I already stumbled upon one or two of those chests while searching for the previous discs, so this shouldn't take too long. So, all clues gathered, back to Patty. You're way too ugly to be Patty. What did you do with her?
Hey, if you want to see Patty again, there'll be no funny business, got it?
Long story short, Captain Romanov kidnapped Patty to get his hands on her father's treasure. Oh, that explains why his men were lurking around all those clue locations. He promises to release her if I play along and fetch the treasure for him.
Is this the bit where you try and kill me for the clues to Steelbeard's treasure?
Believe me, if I could, I would.
Fine, I'll play your game. For now. I get the treasure from a cave, hand him Steelbeard's map, and he tells me where Patty is being held.
She's locked in the ruin on the west slope, south of here. Here's the key. This is where we part. And I hope you're not thinking me rude if I say I'd rather not see your face again. Or hers.
Dear sir, this was a poor move. Now that I know everything I need to know, there is no way I'm letting you walk away with that map. And so ends the story of Captain Romanov, scourge of the high seas, terror of sailors, kidnapper of daughters, and now landlocked fertilizer. Good riddance. If I had handled things differently, this fight could have been a lot tougher. Romanov would have his whole crew with him. But here's the thing. I killed them the moment I discovered they were spying on me. They were easy pickings one-on-one. Divide and conquer. I find Patty and set her free.
Why, thank you. I guess I get to play the maiden in distress.
She's one of the more memorable NPCs in this game. I'm sure we'll see her in the sequel. And that concludes the search for the discs, because the last one was hidden in Steelbeard's chest alongside the map. The Inquisitor is waiting. Mendoza is pleased with what I've accomplished and begins to open the gate. The moment he does, a whole horde of Saurians, that's what the locals call the Lizard Men, comes storming out. I, along with the rest of the warriors, make short work of them. What's curious is that the Inquisitor doesn't know anything about the lizards. Maybe Eldrick was right. The Inquisitor doesn't seem very inquisitive. At least the droid had some information about them. He said they ruled the world before humans even showed up, back when the gods hadn't yet barged into this land uninvited. Granted, it's not much lore, but hey, at least it's something. Anyway, we head deeper underground where, true to this game's world-building habits, we will learn slightly more, but never quite enough. The whole cave system is filled with strange stone pillars the hero can read. They tell the story of Ursagor, a Titan lord who battled the Titans, subdued them and was then laid to rest in this tomb. And this is the point where the game narrows its focus, speeds up and basically drops its free-form nature. A pity really. We're in Act 3 out of 4 and this one is essentially a straight line story-wise, but a maze in terms of level design. So, the exploration of the tomb. Yeah, I'm not a fan. The maze of corridors had me running in circles more times than I care to admit. Sure, getting lost is part of spelunking, but everything here looks exactly the same, and there are almost no landmarks to orient oneself. But the real issue? The visuals. Everything is washed out, blurry, samey. It all blends together and navigation becomes suffering. Compare this to another huge dungeon made by Piranha Bytes, the Sleeper Temple. It was also huge and labyrinthine, but far easier to read visually. The navigation there was much more intuitive. Here, I wanted to throw my mouse and keyboard across the room. Then I realized that I haven't got money to replace them, so I set them back on the table. By far, this is my least favorite part of the game. Speaking of the Sleeper Temple, there are more similarities, but we'll get to that. The important thing is that I finally reached the last corridor, and there I find Ursagor, the Titan Lord himself, although not in the flesh. The gods made a deal with him. He would defeat and seal the monsters and they would grant him eternal life. And they kept their promise, in their own legally correct, morally questionable manner. Ursagor did seal the last Titan here, and as he did, his soul was bound to this place. So yes, he is technically immortal. Promises made, promises kept. And yes, that means a Titan is currently being held here, the Fire Titan to be exact. Which also finally reveals what the mages in the fortress above are actually guarding.
Now I see. Titans are beings of pure magic. While the Fire Titan is trapped slumbering, its power finds ways up into the caverns on the island.
The Titan sealed here is the reason the island is still protected. He was sealed extra well, it would seem, thanks to the crystal formations all around. So he couldn't break free after the gods were banished, like the Titans on the mainland. I must do something about this Titan. Ursagor tells me how to reach the final chamber, but not for free, of course. First I have to free him. Luckily, all necessary items are conveniently placed along the corridor I came through. Nice. True to his word, he tells me what to do next.
You cannot touch me. Men, kill him!
Yeah, of course it had to come to this. Mendoza seals himself in the chamber, hoping to figure out how to control the Titan. And honestly, his reasoning isn't that bad. He wants to use the Titan as a weapon to defeat the others. Sure, it'll destroy the island, but you know, greater good and all that. If someone could harness that power, it would be one hell of a weapon. And honestly, I'm not even convinced the island would be destroyed. This would probably be the first place to test that newfound power, presumably by defeating the Titan we saw in the intro. If that was the case, the island might be freed from the Titan threat entirely. A win-win if you ask me. But none of that matters. I don't even get the option to consider his plan. The game chooses for me, and then the warriors of the Order attack me, so they leave me no choice. Ursugor, on the other hand, is just standing there idly, watching me massacre the warriors. The poor guy has had basically zero entertainment over the last few millennia, so I suppose this is a prime first-row ticket to a live-action gladiator show. Honestly, I get it. Then again, how much help can a ghost actually be? Not being material and all that. According to Ursugor, Mendoza will fail to subdue the Titan since he lacks the means. The power of the gods is necessary to control that beast. And they were banished. All that remains is Ursugor's old set of armor, which might allow me to defeat the Titan once and for all. Yeah, if this setup reminds you of Gothic 1, you're absolutely right. An elaborate dungeon at the end of the game that you have to visit twice. The second time after acquiring ancient weapons that will allow you to defeat the final boss. It really feels like the devs looked at what worked before and went, hey, why not just do that again? And sure, this isn't a bad approach, but it does feel a bit stale if you ask me. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the lizard people. Narratively and mechanically, they serve the same purpose as the orcs in the Gothic games, and I do like their design. Hulking bipedal lizards that can hit like a truck, great for gameplay. But the lore behind them is paper thin. Honestly, the whole game is a bit light on lore. You get some lizard murals in the temples, some actual dwellings, hints of a caste society, and that's about it. Oh, and Ursugor is, or was, their king. They even have their own weaponry, just like the orcs. Mechanically identical, narratively way less developed. The orcs, even in Gothic 1, had more going on, and after Gothic 2, Piranha Bytes really should know how to layer lore around a major faction. It sucks that there is so little to uncover here. If the devs felt like giving too much info would overwhelm players, then they should have compartmentalized it into optional mini-dungeons. Make it something that curious players can discover on their own. Think of Gothic 2's reveal that the Seekers used to be people from the swamp camp. Totally missable unless you play a mage. But it exists for those who care. Here, not so much. What you find in the caves beneath the monastery is all you've got. To find the armor, I have to travel across the island again and visit all the temples with blue barriers. Luckily, thanks to Ursugor, I can now destroy them. He handed me a spell for that. You know what? I just remembered something. From the beginning of the game, many NPCs told me that the Inquisition was brainwashing people in the monastery. Yeah, what's up with that? I've been a mage for a fairly long time now. I was promised brainwashing. Where is my brainwashing? It seems that this was never really in the cards. The whole rumor probably came from the fact that some people genuinely seemed to like the Inquisition after being conscripted, even some of the Dawn's people. That though is too much for some to process, so the rumor about the brainwashing was born. The ones resisting are mostly those who held higher positions in society before the Inquisition arrived. Which makes me think, maybe the Dawn's rule wasn't that great after all? That thought gets even stronger when you look at the operation he's running in the swamps. Not exactly a well-oiled machine. Meanwhile, the citizens from the lower classes finally have a roof over their heads, warm meals, and perhaps, most importantly, purpose. Something beyond just serving the Dawn. A higher calling, so to speak. Sure, everyone has different circumstances, but the genuine improvement in their living conditions naturally leads to an honest belief in the Inquisition's mission. No brainwashing required. Although, I kind of hoped there would be some strange ritual trying to break the player. I should really concentrate on the task at hand. I could teleport out of this cave system, but I won't do it. I mean, all these Order warriors who are loyal to Mendoza would just stand here idly, not fulfilling their most important obligation. The one they were sworn to uphold. The sacred duty of providing me with experience. Even though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, my magic bullet.
For the Inquisition!
While I'm at it, it's best to finish leveling my attack spell and gain a bit more mana. Oh, The monastery is under attack. While I was busy getting lost in the underground passages, the lizard people took their chance to get rid of the mages. And here two things happened that I absolutely didn't expect. 1. I completely forgot that this part even exists. 2. I ended up really enjoying the defense against the invaders. Yeah, there were many deaths, sure. But clearing the courtyards and dungeons was a lot of fun. Nothing on the level of fighting through Arholos in the last act of that game, but still, pretty good. Plus, Saurians are great enemies, imposing, competent and with a strong visual identity. It's a good thing I decided to leave the caves on foot. I would have hated to miss this. Now, this made me think of something. You see, the defense of the monastery is considered a side quest. After the first act, side quests became rare, very rare. There's a noticeable lack of side activities in the later game. I initially thought that the whole party story was one, but no, that was part of the main quest too. So when I think about it, there's basically one side quest in the wild, in the middle and late game, apart from lizard hunting and reforging ancient weapons, which is actually a neat idea. I like it a lot. There is only the hunt for cursed rings for a sleep-deprived man. Lord Patroskon is hunting him in his dreams because he picked up a ring he absolutely should not have touched. The lord in question forged the rings and gave them to his vassals to in darkness bind them. But something went wrong, and now he's an undead scourge haunting the land, while also tormenting the poor quest giver. I tracked down all the rings and even destroyed Lord Patroskon in the process. This adventure builds on Risen's great use of exploration, sending me to different parts of the island. It also could have enriched the lore, but again, the effect is rather weak. It's honestly infuriating that one small crypt in Gothic 2, the one with Anubis, had more lore building power than an entire quest in Risen. You know, in all honesty, this isn't how I remember this game. I genuinely had it in my mind that Risen was a fine first step, a solid foundation for a new series. And mechanically, it is, but the lore? Thin, very thin, like butter stretched over too much bread. I know not everything could be established in one game, but the lore we did get didn't even provide fertile ground for speculation, something that the Gothic 1 and 2 community thrived on and still thrives on. In comparison, the world of Risen is basically a closed book. This lack of lore genuinely shocked me during my replay for this deep dive. We needed far more than what we've got. The monastery is secure, or at least as secure as it can be for now. Time to find Ursagar's armor, which unfortunately means going underground yet again. I know I complained about the caves beyond the big gate, but the temples with the armor fragments are way better. They're bite-sized, with one or two of the more elaborate variety. Completing them doesn't take long, which keeps the underground sameness from becoming a problem. And most importantly, after you finish each one, to search for the next temple to raid, you have to return to the surface. This is great. No area overstays its welcome, and the narrative moves forward with every short dive beneath the ground. It's also the last chance to explore the island's topside areas I previously ran past. Now, all armor pieces are in my possession. Still, the set I acquired is a bit dull and unimpressive, probably lacks its former power. I need someone proficient in repairing all the magical artifacts. I know just the guy. Eldrick is up for the job. I wonder where he even got that knowledge. The armor is hundreds of years old. But I suppose magic works how it works, whether now or in the ancient past. Let's assume repairing magical artifacts always involves the same procedure, maybe with different magical output, but the basics stay similar. I'm repairing the armor of Ursagor, king of the lizard people, who was buried in the volcano labyrinth. Why exactly was his armor scattered across the 5 temples? It is said that when he sealed the last titan he was entombed beneath the volcano and died there, presumably in his armor. It wouldn't make sense for him to fight a titan without it. So did the Saurians strip his corpse and seal the armor pieces in different temples? If so, then the lizardmen betrayed their king and sided with the gods, preventing anyone from easily accessing the fire titan and using its power. Honestly, that does make some sense, especially given that even now when I'm on good terms with Ursagor himself, his lizards still attack me on sight. Once more, this part of Risen needed way more development. I always wondered who spread the armor across the island. So, as I said, my working theory is that this was the lizard man's doing. To what end and with what incentive, I still have no idea, and probably never will. If you have a better explanation of what happens in this game, please let me know down in the comments.
It is done. That which was divided is one. Here is the armor.
Eldrick, your services are much appreciated. It pains me to leave this lush island and journey into the tunnels again, but I have to finish this. The adventure is most definitely racing towards its conclusion. Ah yes, back again in my least favorite part of Faranga. I have to go into the last chamber and seal the Fire Titan once more. Oh, guess who's waiting for me outside the gate? Hello there, Inquisitor Mendoza. Okay, I have one quick question. How did you get out? I see that one of the skulls I used to open the door is still missing. And sure, you could argue that there's a mechanism inside that lets you open the gate from within. But there isn't. I checked. It really feels like the devs didn't think this through. They send Mendoza into the chamber so the player has to go on the Grand Island tour to gather the armor pieces. Then they suddenly remembered. Oh shit, wait. The player still needs the skull that Mendoza took to open the door. So they just teleported him outside and hoped nobody notices. I did. I know I said that the Inquisitor's plan had some merit, but how exactly is he planning to control the Titan? There isn't even a hint of a course of action. No ritual, no magic artifact. Not even an ancient sticky note left behind by Orsagor explaining the controls. I expected at least a fig leaf of an explanation. Instead, I got something like a pinky promise, "Trust me bro, it'll work." Mendoza has absolutely no plan. His first fight with the Titan went horribly wrong. What makes him think that this time he'll succeed? What happened between then and now? Did he get new information in the caves? No. Did he find a magical instruction manual? Also no. Think about the logic here. He needs Titan power to defeat the Titans, but to get Titan power he needs to defeat a Titan. A fine case of circular logic if you ask me. I don't know, I expected more from him. Up until he went through the gate, I actually liked Mendoza. At the last minute he turns into a villain. Just because. Oh well, he's dead now. Onward to the Titan chamber. What? This is the boss battle? This is just embarrassing. The most boring fight in the entire game. Fighting wolves is more captivating and stressful than this. First of all, you have to fight the Titan using the Titan shield and the weapon. So for me as a mage this was incredibly jarring. No magic is supported here. Deflect the magic missiles at him and then hit him in the knees a few times. And that's it, fight over. Oh, and look out for the disappearing tiles. Riveting. I don't even know why they bothered. Mechanically and narratively this fight is weak. The combat system simply does not support the kind of boss encounter they clearly wanted. Gothic 1 and 2 were much more self-aware about their limitations. Gothic 2 ends in a standard fight fully compatible with the combat mechanics, and Gothic 1's finale is basically a puzzle boss supported by the gameplay. But here, they tried to create something completely unlike the rest of the game, and it shows. Well, at least I understand what their thought process was here. They intended the game to have many Zelda-style boss battles throughout the whole gameplay, culminating with the Fire Titan. The monster being the last enemy, the devs wanted to make sure that it was beatable for every character build. Thus, they forced the Orsagor armor, weapons and shield onto the player. So, to summarize, they brought down the whole experience to a common denominator of a mechanic that was almost entirely cut from the game, save for this one battle. Why did you do that? Narratively, it hurt too. A half-baked reason paired with a half-baked mechanic for the ending. It really feels like they just wanted to be done with it and call it a day. That's it. We sealed the Titan once again. The holy flame will continue to burn and nothing much will change. Aside from the hero becoming about as powerful as a Titan Lord. So, what do I think about Piranha Bytes' second impression? A solid and enjoyable effort for the most part. The improvements and refinements to the combat experience are very welcome. Magic is mechanically almost the same as in previous games, so not much to comment on here, although I do like the idea of crystal magic. The biggest structural problem of the game is that the lore is paper thin. It establishes very little, and the motivations of the main human antagonist leave much to be desired. Forcing the player underground for an entire chapter also seems like a misstep. Not because the concept is inherently flawed, but because the visual design of those tunnels and tombs is just bland. The washed out color palette does the caves no favors. Exploration though, it's once again top notch. Plenty of secrets to uncover, strong monsters naturally blocking access to certain areas. And that familiar feeling of satisfaction when you stumble upon something new is still very much alive here. All in all, Risen is a strong mechanical foundation for a new series, even if the lore is still in its infancy. I believe this is a decent place to build from. I only wish there were more dangling threads for the fanbase to speculate on. As it stands now, the only thing one can really wonder about is what's happening on the mainland, and maybe what the Lizardman role in all of this is, and not much more. That's it for this video. If you held out with me until now, I hope you enjoyed it as a kind of Christmas episode. Merry Christmas to you all, and a Happy New Year! May your holidays be cozy, your loot plentiful, your quests bug-free, and may your explorations, both in-game and in life, lead you to places worth discovering. And here's hoping that in the coming year, more deep dives into classic RPGs will make their way onto this channel. And who knows, perhaps we'll see each other in the next in-depth look.